Now, here's a story. The story occurs, and you have to excuse us. So there was a power shortage, so the classes were cut short. But here we are. There is power now. Here's the story. At the time of the Tzemach Tzedek, there was a very rich man, a very rich businessman. He used to sell materials, fancy cloth and leather and tapestries to the rich, they say barons and dukes and things like that. That were in the area. He used to load up his wagon with the fineries, and he would take it to these noble people, nobility, and they would use the materials to make garments for themselves, to make tapestries in the house, drapes and this. Anyway, so he used to travel with his wife. He took his wife with him. His wife used to travel with him, and she know the business. It happened that for a while he was sick, or whatever reason it was, and she said she'll go herself, and she'll take there's a servant that would carry the stuff in, and she would go with them. So she went with them, and she would talk to the noble, whatever it was, and get the money, and then the servant would bring the stuff in. Well, it happened one time that they traveled to some big castle, wherever it was, and the servant noticed that the rich man's wife, she was spending an unusual amount of time in the palace. So he thought maybe something happened to her. Maybe she was sick. Maybe they kidnapped her. In any case, he went and he peeked in the window, and he saw that she and the how do you say, the baron or whoever it was had enticed her, and that they were committing a conjugal act, which was obviously against the Torah. A married woman, also with a non-Jew, etc., and all the things. Okay, so he didn't say anything at first. The man didn't say anything, but when he came back, he told the husband that this is what he saw. So the husband confronted his wife about it, the rich man, and the wife, she denied it totally. But the husband didn't believe her. And so he decided to start proceedings to divorce her. On the one hand, it was a little bit difficult to do because the testimony was the testimony of a non-Jew. According to Judaism, the testimony of a non-Jew is not necessarily accepted. One second. Yeah. Not necessarily accepted. And the woman, she denied it totally, so they didn't know what to do. Excuse me. So the husband was a little bit unsure, really, if he should go through with this thing, because she was so adamant in her protests. And on the other hand, even the servant, though the servant was a very loyal person, very intelligent person, but after all, he was a non-Jew, and testimony of a non-Jew is not acceptable in a Jewish court. So he decided that he was going to go to a big tzaddik. In the area there was a big tzaddik, and his name was Rabbi Avram of Chernobyl, right? Chernobyl? Just 1 second, let me have a look. 1 minute. I have this written down. Oh no, that's not here. What? I got the wrong page here. Here it is. Here, fell down. Look at this. Okay. Excuse me 1 second. Chernobyl, that's right. It was Rabbi Avram of Chernobyl, that he was the son of a very holy rabbi called Rabbi Menachem of Chernobyl. He was a son. And this Avram of Chernobyl, he himself was a holy man. He was a very holy man. And so they brought him to this. So they brought the woman to Avram of Chernobyl, and they said, she claims, her husband claims, and the servant that he saw her have relations with someone else except for her husband, and her husband suspects that it's true, but she claims that it's not. What do you think? Can you look at her and tell if she's guilty or not? So this Avram Chernobyl, he was already an old man, maybe in his 90s or whatever. So he lifted up his eyebrows and he looked at her, and you could see the holiness in his face. He was just a holy person, and he said, "Innocent, innocent." innocent. So that was it. It was innocent. And they dropped it. But the husband still had big doubts. The husband, even though this big tzaddik said, yes, this, but nevertheless, his trusted servant wouldn't make up a story like that. His servant would not make up a story like that. He had absolutely no reason to. And even if he did have a reason to, he wouldn't. He wouldn't lie to him. He wouldn't lie. So he couldn't understand, he felt bad. So he wrote a letter to the Tzemach Tzedek, the Rebbe of Chabad. And the Rebbe of Chabad wrote a letter back, and he said that the woman is guilty. And he wrote him that the Rav of Chernobyl said that she's innocent. What do you say? And he said, I see that the woman is guilty. I see the woman is guilty. So they asked him, they questioned her afterwards, and they really pressed her, and she finally admitted that she was guilty, or they found out for sure that she was guilty. And they went to the Rabbi Avram and asked him what happened. So he said, I don't know, I saw that she was innocent. So they went to the Tzemach Tzedek and said, how could you possibly know? And so the Tzemach Tzedek said like this, Rabbi Avram of Chernobyl is a holy person, and he sees things spiritually. This woman truly repented for what she did. She repented. She realized she made a mistake. It was on the spur of the moment. She got trapped, and she had relations with this other man, and she repented. Her repentance wiped out any trace of sin that she had. Repentance. So spiritually, she was, clean. But Judaism doesn't go according to spirituality. Judaism goes according to what you actually did. So the actual deed was actually done. So the spirituality of the thing concealed the fact that Tzemach Tzedek said, I saw the fact that she did have relations with him. Okay. The point of the story is that the physical conceals the spiritual, and both of them can conceal godliness, the Creator. And that is the point of Mashiach, that he will reveal godliness in the whole entire world, what is actually the truth and the reason for our creation. Have a good day with Mashiach now.